Yeah, dude. What's going on, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's good to see like the real face, not the Instagram face.
Oh yeah, I know, right? I know. No. What is it? The musician pose. When you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
cool,
yeah.
Cool.
Like, behind the drums, like make the drums good.
Exactly, man. So so first of all, thanks so much, man. You were literally like the first person who signed up, man. So that's super dope.
Man, I saw it and I was like, I'm on it. I've been like calling so many people. It's crazy at the moment. I'm just like, we probably should do this like more times than in crisis, right? We should be like checking in with people, but in this time it feels like extra necessary.
Yeah, exactly, man, exactly. Yeah, man. So what you been up to today, man? How's your day
today, just shedding. There's loads of shedding happening at the moment. It was probably the same as every musician in the world. Yeah. But it's cool. I'm quite lucky, man. I have like a nice studio with a beautiful garden, and the sun's just like starting to go down in the side. It's pretty dreamy, man. We're quite lucky here. Yeah. We're not sort of locked up in an apartment in the city. We moved about 6 months ago we're not like fully rural, but we're more rural than we were. Today, just hanging out in the studio and just had a lesson. I got another lesson after this. Nice. And we've been tracking the EP, me and some of the guys from a project I work in.
Really?
We thought, man, as the same for lots of us, we've all lost a whole ton of income this year, which is pretty scary, man, and really unknown. So we're just trying to it wasn't exclusively to make a bit of money, it was also to keep us like from just being idle and not really having anything to do. But if it means we could try and recoup even some of that in a way, then that's something that we want to do. And man, it's always good to just keep fresh in it, keep working on the chops and doing stuff. So
yeah, exactly. So how are you are you like all recording together, or are you like doing bits and pieces in different spots?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all just remote. Like we'll just some of the guys are literally recording on like a 58. He's playing his sax SM58 in literally in his garage. Like we're not all have studios and I mean I say studio, this is like a log cabin I've built in my garden. It's I've made it into what I need. It's not quote unquote music studio, but it is to me now. So all remote and just like bouncing ideas backwards and forwards on WhatsApp, go and check this out, try this, and then we've managed to get it all together in like about three or 4 days, which was pretty good from nothing, which was quite cool. And I'd kind of set 3 microphones up on the drums, got a really fat sound I was really pleased with. I was like, great, yeah, let's go. Sometimes that's the way it goes, you can try for fucking days and just get nothing and so one mono room mic, a kick and a snare mic, and I'm away. And to be honest, that's always the vibe I try to go for anyway, but never seem to land it.
yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny, man. It's like, there's something about like the necessity of like having to get something done, or like that mindset of like, I'm actually going to do something rather than just like, oh, I'm going to go in the studio today and mess around with moving mics around. And it's like, that's cool. Like, you're never like really satisfied. You never get it because to me, at least, I know I've done this where it's like, I'm just in the mindset. I'm just messing around. I'm searching, it's like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, it could be better. All that with that kind of stuff, whatever. But it's like, man, when you actually need to do something like, okay, we're recording this. It's like, it just puts you in a completely different mindset. It's like, all right, like we're going to make this happen. And then it's like, oh yeah, that sounds dope,
Yeah.
So,
and make that like says a lot about how that we're mentally looking at it when you're in that session. That like, is it good and is it wicked and is it good enough? And we're just being perfectionists because we've got all the time in the world. I mean, we've got all the time in the world now. We didn't have to push it out this weekend, but it was like, I was saying to the bass player on the project, it's been great for like the flow rate, like for the work rate, just like 3 takes of each bang, some of them I'm not even sure. I think he comped stuff a little bit, but it was like, let's just go with it. The whole point of it was that it's raw and it's live and it's happening now, it definitely changes the mindset and the view on it for sure.
Man, I really think that there's going to be like a huge, it's kind of funny because I was just bugging when I was talking to my man Dries the other day. for the first one of these, like about like I've just kind of been chilling. I'm the music making part of things right now. I just haven't really felt like the need to like really just go crazy. But with that said, I really think there's going to be like a outpouring of creativity because of this. Because people are like, we're all kind of just hanging out doing our thing, and they're like, what? I hate to say what a better time than now.
Sure.
But in a way, I mean, think about the technology that we have available to us. I mean, like, you couldn't have done this back in the 70s, 80s, possibly even in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like, where people are just, like, you needed a studio to create music, at least. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, man, we're all on lockdown in 1975. If you're on lockdown... Yeah. What are you gonna? Everyone's gonna put stuff on their cassette recorders, or their real. It would have been a lot more difficult. So, I just think that I don't know, man. It's gonna be really interesting to start to see what people, the creativity, that this is going to like help bring out of people. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. Like I don't know. You have to like look at for all the positive stuff and and all. 100%. So.
Yeah, it's. I was chatting to a cymbal maker over here in the UK. He's done a repair for me. He's making me some little bits out of old things that were broken. Nice. Collingwood cymbals. Dave Collingwood, his name is, and we were chatting about it. That it's in many ways it's like it's leveled the playing field because no one's gigging now. There is no big tour. There is no arenas. There is no clubs. There is no there's nothing. So all everyone's got is this computer and, like some people's is probably, maybe more expensive or my higher quality than others. But essentially it's down to what we do with it. Right. So everyone's at the same level now. And that's like not all hugely negative. That's not all positive. Everything's balanced. But, it kind of, like you say, it's definitely going to bring out certainly a different and a new form of creation in terms of the message. The medium's still going to be the same, obviously, but I think the vibe and the message within each piece of art that's coming out in music is going to be very different. And it's kind of, I don't know, I've kind of had we had, so in the UK, we had our Prime Minister last night announce that we're essentially on lockdown now for 3 weeks. Not legally, if that's a thing, but they have said they'll fine you, and so basically we're on lockdown, unless you need to go get food, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Which in a way I kind of wanted to happen because as a self-employed musician freelancer, it's just what we're going to do, and without anyone actually officially saying this is what's happening, we're pretty fucked basically because we've got nowhere to turn. Our union's great and they're trying to really help us, but without an official stamp on it saying that you can't go to work, then it was just, we could have had the argument of, well, just go get a job then. And it's like, yeah, but man, I've been working in this for 15 years. It's not that simple, man. Do you know what I mean? Of course I can, but I can't just pick up the phone and be like, oh, hey, Mr. Job man, can I have one now? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. Yeah. And we are, again, we're super lucky. I have a partner at home who we're happy being together and hanging out. I'm not by myself. I've got some outdoor space. So it's, but yeah, it's kind of made me, it's left me with this, in a weird way. It feels quite weird saying it, but like a bit of an excitement. Like I feel like I'm kind of waking up in the morning being like, shit, man, like I can come in my studio and do whatever the fuck I want, basically, because I haven't got songs to learn. I haven't got time restraints. I haven't, I've got my lessons and stuff, but I'm not going. I'm just I've literally just flicked off the student and flicked onto you. So it's and I've been in here since 10 o'clock this morning. So it's like, it's a very surreal feeling. Sometimes it's making me feel happy. Sometimes it's making me feel quite emotional. And it's all just a bit mental.
Yeah, it's funny, man. I've been saying this to a few people. I've never been in a way more relaxed overall. You know what I mean? Like, and the thing, and I'm sure you're on the same trip. Like, I'm sticking to a routine. You know what I mean? Like, I woke up at like 5 this morning. I was thinking about getting out of bed, but I was like, nah, let me chill. So I went back to sleep just for a little bit. I got up, I came down here where I'm at right now, meditated for like an hour. Yeah. Did that. After that, handled some emails, Then my wife Kim and I, we went out for a walk, and we're very much live in a area like kind of like what you're describing. I mean, there's like farmland all around us. I mean, it's like farming. So we can go for a nice long walk and not see anybody. And that's not just because of now. That's kind of generally the situation, But went for a walk, came back here, worked out, got some food, and then now I'm here. You know what I mean? But and then after this, I'm gonna work on some get some mixes together for some people, But man, I've just really been feeling good. People will text me, "Oh man, are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, I'm great. You know what I mean? Like today, I'm obviously we're all taking this day by day, but I'm great, man. I'm feeling creative. I'm just feeling the creative juices just flowing, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I'm all. Hey, man.
So do you have, is your studio, or do you have a workspace at home?
Well, not necessarily. No, my studio is like, it's about 20-25 minute drive from here. Okay. And
is America on lockdown? Sorry to cut you off.
Well, it's state by state, Okay. So like here, just actually today, this morning, Massachusetts went into a lockdown, which isn't really much different than what it was yesterday or for the past week or so. But it is not kind of what you were describing. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of have to be on some official business to really be out. I mean, you can go to the store, obviously. You can go fill up your car, things like that. You can be out, and but yeah, that's pretty much the deal. So with that said, I mean, I can still get to the studio if I wanted to, but I don't know. I'm not. Part of me is just like I don't want to be a part of the. I don't want to say I want to be part of the problem by being out, but you know what I'm saying, man. So I'm just respecting the situation. So I'm trying to do as much as I can at home, so, but I don't have any drums here or anything like that, but that's cool. Whatever, it's not a big deal. I can get to them, and I can jet up to the studio. If I'm really kind of going crazy, I can go get some oh wait, do I have some here? Oh, maybe I do. I don't know, actually.
There you go. You're going to go check afterwards.
But yeah, so, but it's cool, man. Like, I'm all good, man. I'm all good with it, for now. So
yeah, it's kind of like you say, the day by day thing. I think is where it's at the moment, and it's hard to know. Like I'm trying not. I don't think it's fully like set in that. Like, so I make majority of my living is from playing live. The drum school's kind of new. I've always taught, but this is like I've like made it a bit more official at the beginning of this year. So it's very much in its infancy, and it's definitely not enough to keep me alive.
Right, yeah.
And I don't think it's quite fully sunk in. Not the financial thing, man. Like I'll just go work and stack shelves. You know what I mean? I'm quite easy like that. I don't mind grafting. That's not really an issue. But sort of like mentally and creatively, I don't think it's quite sunk in that I might not be playing a show for like quite a while, man. And
yeah, I can dig it.
That's quite daunting. And this was for the band, for the Jewelers that I play with. This was our biggest. We were playing. Well, fingers crossed. Like I say, we're scheduled to play Wembley Arena later this year. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like we were on this massive peak, and it's just and we're it felt. I did have a few moments this week of. So I was like kind of stepped in, sideman, got the gig. I didn't build the project, but my boss has been building it for years, So I can definitely appreciate from his point of view how it felt a little bit like everything we've kind of been working for has just gone. Do you know what I mean? And that when like I had a couple of days in the beginning on that, and I was like, I can't sit and like focus on that too much because it's out of everyone's control. There's nothing anymore.
Yeah, man. And, man, that's interesting. That's like exactly what I was thinking the same thing that you were talking about earlier, man, about how this situation has leveled the playing field. You know what I mean? And I was thinking about that in music, but I was just thinking about that in life in general, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's the same over there as over here with politics and all this kind of stuff, man. It's like at the end of the day, none of that none of that really matters when you break it down. And we're seeing it, you know what I mean? Like, and so I'm hopeful, man, that people will wake up and recognize that. Like, so it's interesting. I was like rapping with Neil yesterday. And so he was it yesterday. Yeah. And he said that he was talking with our mom, and she said, so my mom was retired for a while now, but she's a educator, school teacher. Mm-hmm. So she was talking about how she feels that after all this, it could drastically change the educational system, how people approach, you know what I mean? So the thing is, like, so my son, who's in college, well, he's at home now, but so our son and daughter are schooling online now, you know? Okay. So if you think about it, you know, like, at least over here, man, school, like, university is not cheap. You know?
Yes. Yeah, same here, yeah.
But if you're doing a lot of that online at home, mm-hmm. It's not that expensive anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
the overheads have disappeared, haven't they?
Exactly. So I don't think that system will totally disappear, but that's just one example of a system that can be rethought. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, it just kind of this is just leveling the playing field, man. It's affecting everybody. So it's really interesting. I was thinking about the same thing you were talking about. I was like, because my wife showed me a post that Susan Schofield, John Schofield's wife, put up the other day on Instagram, I think it was, and just saying, like, it's fun, man. It's like they're going through the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like John Schofield's going through, like, every musician, you know, like you said, no matter what level you're on, we're all on the same level now. I don't care what you say, man. You know, like, so it's, I don't know, man. I think the only way I can look at it is just positively, you know. It's just,
we're kind of like, it's, you know, there's generally an attitude to try and carry anyway, but particularly in times like this, it's, you know, and I mean, actually, what's been quite interesting is it's made one thing I also said to my, so I'm supposed to be getting married in September as well, so fingers crossed that's going to go ahead too, man. Jeez. I was saying to my fiance Annie that it's actually given me my yoga and meditation practice back. I kind of lost it a little bit over the last year or so. We had a bit of a heavy year last year. We lost some friends, and like, it kind of just threw everything a little bit out of whack, and I kind of lost that. But these last few weeks, certainly this last week, it's just every morning I'm back on, because I'm not going to the gym. Sorry, my phone's gone. I'm not going to the gym, so
same here. Yeah,
I'm able to, like, I've got that time in the morning to have like an hour's meditation and yoga practice, which I haven't done for a good 6 months. And I'm normally daily with that kind of thing. And then, sort of towards the end of last summer, things got a little bit crazy and lost that. But I've got it back now, which is like making a huge difference, because, man, we're being forced to be still now, right? So it's not even a choice anymore. So train ourselves to kind of get a little bit more comfortable with that, then that's only going to benefit us, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's so, man. So I was like checking out your website, man, which I really dig, dude. It's a dope website, man. I was like cruising through it, man, and man, your one blog post about teaching is a mindset, you know, a skill, right?
Yeah.
And man, I read that, man, and that was a really dope read for me, just because I've had as a student, I've had one official instructor, or who I paid, you know, like a long time ago, and it didn't work out too well. And my father taught me. He was like my main instructor, you know what I mean? But
was he a drummer?
Well, not professionally.
Yeah.
But man, he could play, man. I mean, cool. So that's how I started. I mean, like, drum, like, man, I started playing when I literally don't remember. I have no recollection of starting. Like, my mom said I started when I was about 9 months old. So I have, like, I always tell people, man, it's easier for me to play drums than it is to speak, really, you know, because that was kind of my first language, really, you know what I mean? or at least the first language that I was trying to produce on my own, I guess, or, something like that. But anyway, so yeah, man, I learned a lot from him, man. So over the years, I've taught a little bit, and I've always had a hard time teaching. And the funny thing is, both my parents were teachers.
Yeah.
And so it's like in my blood, I guess, you know what I mean? Like it's a little easier for me to teach recording and engineering, things like that than it is drums. I don't know why. Maybe it's just like drums is like just so more personal to me.
Yeah, a bit more sacred maybe in that sense.
Yeah, it's just hard for me to explain. It's always been hard for me. I guess the one problem is not a problem. I guess it's a good thing. People have come to me for lessons because they know who I am. You know what I mean? Like they did my playing or whatever. And like, it's so hard for me to explain my own playing because it's all feel. Yeah. You know, like, and so I think about that. That's even hard to explain. Yeah. It's hard to explain how I feel when I'm playing. And then even to myself, I know what it feels like when like, you can't even put it into words, but I just know when it feels right, like, so then it's like really hard to explain to somebody who's coming to me for that kind of information. So a lot of times they just kind of get off more on a philosophical tangent, like life than music. But reading your post, man, it kind of like, it got me thinking a little bit differently. I kind of like, unblocking, I guess I would say, what was maybe what I had, the roadblocks I had in terms of like trying to teach someone. Like it was a good read, man. Like it was really well thought out and explained, man. So yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that as well. It's kind of the whole, if I'm honest, writing and blogging is something that's very new to me, man. I'm not. I would say, I want to say that it doesn't really come naturally, but when, I've written out sort of 3 lesson plans today. I've got like a bit of a strategy to trying to get stuff done for the next few weeks. And it's, once I sort of start and I get like the right playlist on and I'm like focusing and I'm doing it, it kind of comes out and like needs a lot of checking and editing and stuff. But yeah, that particular blog post, often what happens with a blog post is it's just something I'm like, man, this has been in my head for a few days. Like I've got to get this out because otherwise I'm going to lose that thought and that like sometimes those sort of like bits of knowledge, or I'm going to lose my mind because it's just going round and round and round. So it's usually one of the two will win, and then either way, it's me getting it out on paper. But I think I may have. I'm not sure if I can take full credit for that. I think I got that from somewhere. I can't remember if I'm honest, but. That concept, but all concepts are learned, right? So it's good. It's just an interpretation of it, and but yeah, it's been something that's been quite. As certainly as I've been like making the drum school a little bit more official, it's kind of and getting like a little bit older. I'm 30. I say I'm only 30, and I've said in the last few weeks, I'm like I definitely don't feel old, but I know I'm not 17 anymore as well. Do you know what I mean? I'm like I'm in that sort of like transitional period a bit. And something that's been really quite strange for me to sort of deal with is that, like, I'm still very much active in gigging and I will be for a while, but I'm coming to terms with that might not be the case forever, and I'm totally cool with that. If you'd have told that to my 16-year-old self, I would have said, no fucking way, man. I'm going to be playing till I die, man. Do you know what I mean? Whatever. Like, if I have a heart attack on stage, that's the way I want to go. That's changed for me now, man. Like, I want to have a family. I want to, like, be at home and that doesn't mean never gigging. It just means that I'm starting to break those sort of ties with like the stringent just tour all the time, like out all the time, and because it's great. I fucking love it, man. I really, really do love the lifestyle that I'm in and that I get to do, and I love traveling. I love meeting new people. I love turning up in places where you don't know anybody and they're screaming at you, and it's like great, yeah, wicked. That feeling will never ever go away. But I also want to have children and I want to like have a successful marriage and a good home life and all these different things. And I also want to dive into education as much as I can. And actually, I think it's not that black and white, but I don't think you can have both, if I'm totally honest. I think the strict like big tours and like running a teaching business and being the family, like I don't want to do that to myself or to my family, I think is what it ultimately comes down to, you know.
Yeah, it's funny, man. So I'm 40. I just turned 46 yesterday, right? And so for a while, oh, right on, man. So I've been thinking for a little while now, man, like along the same line, I guess for a while. But so I have been married for a long time. We've been married for a while, man. So we have a 19-year-old son, you know, and our daughter's almost 16. So the crazy thing is, man, when Soul I was really doing it heavy, man, I'm not going to say I regret any decisions. Sure. I mean, but I definitely missed a lot. You know what I mean? Missed a lot of birthdays, missed a lot of firsts, whatever, you know. Yeah. I was away a lot, man, you know, and it was tough, but it is what it is, you know. So now it's interesting, man. I was at kind of recently, I was at a show, and I was sitting backstage or what have you, know, waiting to go on, and I'm sitting there, and I remember the next day I had some stuff going on or whatever, you know. So anyway, I'm at the show, and it wasn't a Soul Live show. It was just some other thing I was doing, you know. And I had a really good time, but I was sitting there, I was checking out the opening band, and I was like looking around, like, you know, man, I was doing the same exact thing in the same kind of venue when I was like 13 or 14 years old. Yeah. And it just kind of hit me. I was like, whatever cup that I was trying to fill with experiences or whatever that drive was for that thing in life when I was a teenager all the way up until, you know, the cup is overflowing. You know what I mean? It just kind of hit me. I was like, I'm good, man. Like, I love playing music. And that'll never change. Yeah. But that it just kind of hit me. Like, I can back off now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to, like, do the whole crazy grind hustle thing, you know? So with me, like, the past few years, well, I mean, I've been engineering for a very long time, but that's really been my focus, like, for the past, I don't know, like, almost 10 years now. But, and it's, it feels, so with that, so there's that. So I had the engineering thing, and all of a sudden I had, like, all these other bands going on outside of Soul Live. I was like, man, it's just too much. I just have to, like, at some point, I feel like in order to be really, I'm not even going to say be really good at something, but for me to be happy, I need to, like, break it down. You know what I mean? And just, like, feel, you know what it is, man? I feel very comfortable saying no now.
Yes. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. Yeah, for sure. There was like, it's, and yeah, I fully agree with everything you're saying. And I definitely, like, I wouldn't say I've sort of had that moment yet, but I definitely am, like, in the early stages of sort of going towards that way, because I think it is definitely helped, like you say, with, like, the cup being full and overflowing. Like, if I wasn't doing the cool gigs and stuff that I'm doing now, I might feel differently because I haven't sort of ticked that box, if you like, or filled that up. But that's kind of why I made sure I've been working my ass off for the last 10 years. Yeah. To tick those boxes and to fill that cup, because, you know, like, I don't know if I fully am sold on the, like, I'd rather, like, die trying, but a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, also, But for a certain period of my life, it has been all or nothing, basically. You know, it was in many forms, financially, physically, like, mentally, or everything, like, we're energetically, where I'm putting everything, and, you know, and it's, I think it's not strange. It's actually quite a content sort of feeling. It is just being okay with that. Like, I'm quite happy with that. Do you know what I mean? Because I love playing the drums, man. I love teaching people how to play the drums. I love playing shows. I love talking about drums. I love it. And music as well, not exclusively drums, music. I'm in my early days, but I'm starting to learn production and how to record things and how to mix things and do stuff, and it actually doesn't fucking matter really, like where you're playing, or and I know it's probably a little bit easier to say that at this side of like my 20s and having done some cool stuff, but I believe that this feeling would be here whether I'd done that cool stuff or not, because it's the maturity that comes with it, and now like we'll get to play. So I don't know if you've toured the UK or not, but we'll do like O2 academies. They're all like pretty decent sized gigs, and some are 1,500, some are 3,500, right up, like, and festivals of like tens of thousands, and we get to cover all these aspects, and our last record done really great, and it's all kind of new to me on this scale. Like I've done bits and bobs here, but week in, week out to play to like thousands of people is something that I've had to get used to over the last year or so. And it's definitely helped with all of that sort of contentment, because I'm getting that fix, like I said so I've been in this project, I think this is my 4th year now. I sort of said to myself at the beginning of last year, I'm gonna step off the gas hustling, man. Like I'm happy with my gig. If things come in, then great, I'll take them. But I took on a little part-time job in the week to just top up the extra money, because to be honest, man, as much as I love playing every weekend, I got sick of driving to the arse end of nowhere for 100 quid to play at a show where no one gives a fuck, man. Like, and actually music is way more sacred to me than that. It's not just about money, and it's a nice way to make a living, and it's great. And we get that old classic, you get to do what you enjoy to feel alive. It's like, yeah, but I still work, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And so I decided that I'm going to do Jewelers. We play ska and reggae, like traditional Jamaican ska, and I fucking love it, and I get to do all that kind of stuff, and the hang's good, and the money's good, and the gigs are good. So I was like, why am I going to break my balls to find a wedding gig for that extra couple of hundred quid? I'd much rather just go, like, whatever it is, like stacking shelves or something, a couple of mornings a week or a couple of nights a week, and just know that that I'm done with that, and then I get to spend time building my drum school and building my studio and doing these things, because I'm not, again, like just hourly rate, man. You can't work that out as musicians, otherwise you go crazy.
Man. Exactly, man. I hear that, dude. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Well, man, it's the funny thing. It's like I talk with some people who are really, they feel like if you're a musician, right? And the only you can't have another job, right? Like, or else you're not a real musician. That kind of mentality, man. Like, what are you talking about? What like, if someone is we're all in this together, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, like, who cares if someone is working like you said, stacking shelves, or like doing landscaping or whatever. Like, if that makes them a better musician in the end, if they're because that's the thing. You want to bring like happiness or like good vibes to your playing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing 5 nights a week just to barely survive and you're pissed off about it, what I mean? And every gig is just like, oh man, this sucks. You know what I mean? Like, well, that what sense does that make at all?
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Age-old like struggling artist thing, isn't it, man? Like, you got to be, like, and I had that. Don't get me wrong, man. I'm from a really small island in the UK called Jersey. It's in the Channel Islands, and it's a real small place, man. It's 45 square miles, and it has a thriving music scene, and I learned shitloads there when I was a kid, and it was great. Yeah. But I wanted to come over to London, and I'm like, man, I'm just going to go live in a like crappy little flat, little shitty apartment. I don't care. I'm going to be up in Soho every weekend playing and, like doing all my things and blah, blah, blah. Done that for a couple of years, and I was like, fuck this. Like, 2 years of that, and it was great. We were with a project and some like real like brotherly like love in the band, and it was really good fun, and I really enjoyed it. But I decided pretty quickly that actually that was a dream that I'd been sold, or an ideal that I'd been sold. That's someone else's ideal, not mine, man. And and like I say, it was great, and I met loads of cool people, and it was really good fun. But I'm a much happier dude when I can walk across my garden up into my house, man, and light the fire and, you know, and play drums loud and not have to fucking pay for a rehearsal room by the hour and lug all my shit down there. And like, just for what? One show a week in the city or a couple of shows a week in the city. For me personally, no, thank you. It doesn't work, man. It's not for, I'm not saying that's the right or wrong way, but for me, I'm not into it, you know, because that does have its merits. There is amazing things that come from it. People do walk down the road and bump into, you know, whoever he is and get the dream gig. That does happen, you know. It's not impossible. But I think for myself personally, mental space and the energy I have left to create, like you said, I want to turn up to gigs happy. Yeah. I don't want to turn up to gigs and not want to be there, because don't fucking be there then. No one's forced to do anything, you know, especially freelancer. We all choose to be there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so for me, man, it's like, it's the same way I try to approach life as like how I approach music, man. I try to listen. I try to do what makes me happy. You know what I mean? It's taken me a long time to figure that out. You know what I mean? So like, again, like following someone else's path, you know what I mean? Like, so again, like you said, some people may be super happy with just like sleeping on couches all the time and just trying to get every gig. You know, if that makes you happy, that's awesome. If that's your path, great. You know what I mean? But like, that was not my path. You know what I mean? Like, and so you have to listen to the voice inside your head. You know what I mean? And I think like as you get older, you know, maybe that voice becomes a little clearer, or maybe you're just like smart enough to listen to it more. You know, I don't know, you know, but I don't need, you know what, maybe age doesn't have anything to do with that, you know. So I know a lot of young cats who are pretty clear on what they're doing, you know. They're pretty, you know, but man, to me, it's like, man, where do I want to put my energy? You know what I mean? And that's where it's at, man. And if I'm spreading my energy at all these different places, man, like I'm not doing anyone any good, especially myself. You know what I mean? Like people I'm playing with, the people I'm in the studio with, whatever it is, you know, it's like, you know, so it's been really nice. I've just been comfortable with just doing exactly what I want to do, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And it, you know, it does take confidence for sure. It's kind of, I think a part of that, something I'm sort of starting to realize with it, is that you have to a certain extent, be kind of willing to like risk it all for that attitude and that lifestyle, you know, of if it's a job or it's a gig and it's like, actually, do you know what, that's not working for me, man. Like I'm not into that. You've got to be prepared for them to turn around and go, well, we're going to find someone who is then, you know, and not in every situation, but as a sort of sideman hired gun, that's something that's kind of, I think, has to be sort of considered. But ultimately, if it's not, like we're saying, if it's not making you happy, then that shouldn't matter, because the ultimate goal should be, or you know, again, not should be. I'm trying to eliminate that word from my sentences because it's different for everyone. But myself, I just want to be happy. So that's the most important thing. And like I said, I want my family to be happy and I want my friends to be happy. I don't want to be this pissed off dude. I mean, it's bad. It's pretty tough coming home late on a Saturday night, you know, and waking. I don't have kids either yet, man. And like, so like 3-4 home on a Saturday night and it's Sunday morning and like your fiance is like, well, come on, we're going down the beach, you're going swimming, and you're like peeling your eyes open, like, okay. Or,
exactly.
You know, mum and dad are coming around for lunch, and it's like, shit, okay, I need to muster this energy from somewhere. Which actually, where the day job comes on the Monday morning, that's where sometimes it's a bit tough. It's like, fuck, I found myself. Part of the reason we're taking the extra job on as well is for the wedding. So I've just know I've got.
Man.
But yeah, awesome. A few points where I'm like, fuck, man, I'm like working 4 nights a week and 6 days a week. It's like shit. But again, I've got the energy to do it at the moment, and I'm super happy. So you know, it's cool. The other job I have is working in a nursery, like a preschool. I run. Really? So we have what we call them in England like an allotment. It's like a vegetable patch, basically like a community garden. Yep. So I just go 3 mornings a week, man, jump in a minibus, chuck all the little dudes and girls in a van, take them up there, grow vegetables 9 till 1 in the afternoon. I'm like, sweet, and I'm in my studio by 2:30 every day. It's perfect, man. It's great. I'm getting fresh air in the mornings and then going and playing in like O2 academies to thousands of people on the weekend. I'm like, you just have to go, fuck me, man. Like, I'm doing it. I'm doing what I always actually wanted to do.
Yeah.
Have I succeeded? Yes, in my book, I have. Yeah, I'm done, man.
Yeah, man, that's
not
awesome.
Always. I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's not always like that, but
Yeah, man. But you know what? It's how you look at it, though. You know what I mean? Like,
interpret it exactly. Some people deem it as, well, have you made your million? I don't want to make the fucking million, man. Whatever. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I can pay the bills with no stress, put the food on the table, and get to play my drums, man. I'm easy. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm also aware that financial, like right now, I am feeling a little bit of stress and tension from the financial uncertainty. It does bring that. I'm not going to lie about that. It's tough not knowing where the money's coming from. And what's really frustrating about it is having spent the last sort of 10 years to get to a point where I wasn't having to fucking worry about it. I've really got to worry about it. It's like, man, all the time. This was be literally my best year to date financially, and get married and playing fucking Wembley Arena. It was like, yes, T20s are one, and then like a couple of WhatsApp messages later, and it's all gone.
Yeah, dude.
No, not permanently. We will obviously reschedule, but
exactly.
You stand in this present moment. It's pretty bleak.
Yeah, but I mean, the funny thing, my wife and I we were joking, but not really joking, but it's like, man, a lot of people that I know or that we know, we're pretty well suited for this situation, though. You know what I mean? Like being a musician, it's like, maybe that bill will get paid, when it does, or what I mean, like, or whatever. It's just like, hey, we're used to it. We're used to the ups and downs. Like, hey, I got money. Ooh, I got no money.
You're right. It is that we are used to that sort of feast and famine, lifestyle, which you say, maybe it is a little bit like warmed into that lifestyle a little bit of going, we're eating beans on toast, babe, for a month, but I'm playing drums for 6 hours today, so see you later.
Yeah, exactly. No doubt, dude. No doubt, man. So it's all good, man.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, so how old are what is the range of students you have in terms of like age?
Yeah, so I have I teach in some schools as well, some like primary schools, some I don't know what the names are for the states. Primary school so we have like nursery, which is like kindergarten, primary school, which is 4 till 11, and then high school after that. So I teach at the moment it's majority young kids in the schools, because there tends to be it's for a few reasons. The way I'm marketing it at the moment is mostly at young people, because it's a good way to sort of build the business. Is that there's a lot more sort of turnover, if I'm being honest, in the business sense, in that sort of demographic. There's also partly to do with that, which I'm trying to sort of get myself over, is having the confidence to teach at a higher level. Believe in myself that I've got the knowledge and the content to sort of deliver to people. And so it's mostly kids, but it's everybody really. I have taught from I think my youngest guy or girl's like 4 or 5, man, up to like in their 60s. It's everything in between. It's kind of, I'm trying to steer away in a business sense from that we do everything kind of vibe, because I don't think that works too well. It does work, but I'm not a kind of stack 'em high, sell 'em cheap kind of dude. I'm like not like that at all, or trying not to be. Excuse me. So I'm trying to now. I was actually just writing the lessons today for sort of more advanced stuff, and start to talk a little bit more about. So I wrote a lesson plan today. I'm going to film. So I have a Veta endorsement.
Nice.
Yeah, which is really cool. So I reached out to Chad Brandolini at Veta. I don't know if you know any of the Veta guys, but
little, but
so I'm just kind of in this situation. I've been like, man, everyone's chatting, so I was like, fuck it. I've had a couple of interactions with Chad anyway. He's head of A&R in America. I was like, I'm just going to ask, man. I was like, look, we're all in a crazy situation. If there's any way that you would be willing and happy to post some stuff through your channels, I would massively appreciate that. And he just came back like, dude, like 3 minutes later, 100%, man, send them over. Wicked, no worries. And I've noticed through their socials, they've been posting a lot of stuff to help promote all drummers around the world, and just to keep the vibes up, I think, and keep the content flowing. So I was writing I wanted to plan a few lessons to send over to those guys, and I wanted to aim them. Don't get me wrong, again, I don't want to sound like I'm one way or the other, but I'm not really a licks kind of dude, man. I like playing, I play reggae and ska and like an old soul and stuff, man. It's not like the odd lick is nice if it's tasteful, but I'm not going to show you how to chop a drum kit up. I'm not that kind of guy. So I started writing a post actually about relationships and how most of the career progressing that I've experienced is because I've known someone. It's not because I've showed my ability. Now that doesn't say you don't need to have ability, but after a certain level, playing should just be a given, right? And then it's going to be based on, or not should be, again, get rid of that, but playing is a given or becomes a given, and it's more about the old term, man, of who you know, not what you know, and building those relationships and nurturing them, and how to go about them, how to sort of reach out to people and not just be like, I need this, basically, whatever, then enter your requirement. Like it should be more thought out about that. And certainly the way I've always tried to approach it is by offering something first of all, and like that kind of ethos and yeah, and that's something that I'm trying to go into as well. I definitely don't want to go into, well, not I definitely don't want to, but I'm trying not to go into that like life coaching vibe. That's not really, again, what I'm trying to do. I'm still trying to figure it out, Alf, I'm totally honest, man. It's all very new, so but I don't want to just be a guy that shows you how to play paradiddles, but I also don't want to be a life coach either. I'm trying to find some happy middle ground with that offers quite a unique sort of package. And so writing lessons along that sort of thing is where I'm sort of going with now. There's so many other things that, like, I know I didn't get taught at college how to like get a gig, how to keep a gig, more importantly, how to act, you're stuck on a bus for like 17 hours with people and there's no fucking shower and or whatever, and there's no food for another 6 hours because it's a long stop or whatever it is. Like, there's a few examples. Again, relationships. How do you build a relationship with a company? How do you build a relationship with a studio, right? Like, if we want to do session work, we need to know producers, not drummers, and this is stuff that's not really, in my experience, wasn't shown to me in my education. It was almost just taught, get good and people won't ignore you, and I was always just like, but that works, but I could be the best drummer in the world sat here in my studio in the middle of the fucking countryside and no one's going to know about me, and or I could be the best drummer in the world and be a complete asshole and no one's going to hang out with me. So it's kind of, I think there's just so much more to being a career musician as opposed to just wanting to be in a band. Like, we're hired guns, right, or we're in bands, like, and there's kind of like the two sort of things. It doesn't mean we might not have a side gig a sideman gig for a long time, but that comes with so many pressures. Like, I'm a hired gun essentially. I have my job, but it's not secure, clearly. Do you know what I mean? Like, as this situation's showing, and that's no one's fault, but that's just the reality of it, man. And so I'm trying to. We went on a bit of a tangent there, but
no, man. Well, I mean, that's funny, man, because I think about that actually makes me think, like, for the longest time I was like, same thing. I've always been like in a band. I was a hired gun just maybe once or twice, and that wasn't my thing, but I've always been in a band. But and I was, early in, I was trying to be a really good drummer, a good musician and this and that. And I definitely made some poor decisions along the way just because I was so focused on being in the band, partying, having a good time, just whatever, traveling. But I've been lucky enough to over the course of my career, I've met just a handful of people, a few people that helped me really helped me in my career. And it had nothing to do with my drumming or what have, you know what I mean? There was just like experience guys who had been through it all, you know what I mean? And like, and they weren't like these really long discussions, or just like, they became like these friendships, and you would get these little bits of information here and there. I still do from them, and it's just like, oh, I see. And that was so crucial, man. So but again, that's nothing I would have gotten. I lucked out, what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? I was kind of like in the right place at the right time. And that kind of knowledge I wish was more accessible to people, because it's so like what you're saying, it's like, there's so much more to teeth than just the paradiddle or, whatever, I mean, like how to keep a gig, like how to get the gig, how to keep the gig, how to know how to interact with, the other people in the band and the crew, and they're all like these subtleties, man. I mean, that a lot of musicians like could benefit from early. I should say a lot of people who want to be musicians who earlier on could benefit a lot. You know what I mean? Like just help people avoid a lot of mistakes and pitfalls.
Hugely, man, and like that's something that that like resonates with me so much about teaching and receiving lessons as well. Like I still study with lots of people, because man, anyone who thinks that they never stop learning is pretty ignorant. Do you know what I mean? So, but the whole point of a tutor or mentor or whatever, like is to steepen that learning curve, man. Is to take that, because there's nothing wrong with like getting to the point. Not cheating or shortcutting, but get to the point. Like that's okay if one wants to just get to the point straight away, because there is a lot of shit that might not actually be that useful. Like if we were to speak to like a thrash metal drummer, I'm not going to be that interested. Well, it is, as far as like I'm interested, but I don't really want to know how to play blast beats at 180 BPM. But I would be interested to know how he linked up that lesson with that tutor who's really, really high up, or how he got that session in that studio where he was actually playing some funk, or like, those are the things that are really more valuable to me. I'm definitely, again, by no means do I want to sound like I know what I'm doing on the drums, but I kind of got my practice in my pocket. It's here. I know when I need to work and what I need to work on, and I know when I'm not doing enough, and all those kind of things. But it's the other stuff outside and off the drums that really, really gets me excited, because as you go and learn and do enough gigs, you get quicker at learning tunes. You get better at playing in a certain style. Like the physicality of stuff can be learned. Even groove and feel to a certain extent, I believe, can be taught. Like maybe not again that black and white, but it's a bit of a grey area. But I think you can pass that knowledge on. But there's life experiences and things that, man, like you just said, like someone could go through 10 years and have one moment that changed the whole fucking thing. And there's no way that you're going to learn that from a book or a DVD or on a gig even. It's from talking to people. Back to my other point, it's from relationships, it's from face-to-face interaction, and it's from showing willingness to listen, I think, is a massive part of it as well. Just having open ears and trying to decipher as well sometimes what all these old dudes are talking about.
yeah
Which is a whole other skill in itself.
Exactly.
Especially some of the old Jamaicans, man. I mean, I'm like learning from them, going, I can't, first of all, I can't even actually understand the language that you're fucking using, let alone what you're trying to like mean with the analogy, or whatever it is.
Yeah, dude. So that's funny, man. It reminds me of this story real quick, man, before I gotta jet out of here, man. But so a buddy of mine has a really nice studio near me, my boy Pierre, and he works for like the Stones. He's like Keith Richards' like main dude, his guitar tech, and he produces and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, he calls me up one day. He's like, "Hey Al, man, Toots is in the studio here. He's working on a new Maytals album, and I told him that you live near me, so he wants you to come in the studio." So I'm like, "All right, cool, man." So I go over there, and he wanted me to record on a song, and because it was more like a funk kind of thing that he wanted. I'm like, "All right, cool," So I laid down the thing, It turned out great. I was like, I figured I was just leaving, and then Toots starts talking, And then he's like, "All right, well, here's the next tune." Man, I was there, ended up being there for like a few days, right? But the funny thing is, he wanted me. Then he asked me to play. He wants me to play on some reggae cuts. You know what I mean? Like, and I can play some reggae, man. But like, this is like some original. This is the dude. You know what I'm saying, man? So I'm like, no. So the funny thing is, though, so he would play the cut. They already had like some drums on it that like I don't know if his live drummer, like his drummer did or whatever, but they cut the stuff in Jamaica. So I'm like listening to stuff like, oh,
are you sure?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm started playing, and then the funny thing is, he would come over, he'd stop, and he'd come over to me, and he's trying to explain to me what he wants, like like I'm like, I don't even know what you're saying, man. Like I don't know the rhythm, I don't know the names of the rhythms like that. You know what I mean? Like, dude, it was hilarious. And I was just like, dude, I was so out of my element. But when he would like. And then he would actually get on the drums, oh, that, okay, cool. And I'm like,
absolutely, yeah.
I'm like also thinking like, you just played it, like, why? You might as well just play it. But man, I hear you, man. That was the funniest couple of days, man. The funniest couple of days, man.
Yeah.
Trying to understand them, like when it, I mean, I could understand them, I mean, he's speaking English, but but when he starts talking about the precise rhythms that he wants on those cuts, it's just like, dude,
sorry to cut you off. Sorry, go.
No, yeah, I was just like, dude, man, I'm glad that he was able to show me, like, so I learned a lot though. I definitely learned a lot that day, or that couple of days.
It's like any kind of style, man. When you start getting into nuances of it, it's like, man, can you change this little thing here? And you're like, I can try, man. It's all just again trying to interpret it, and see what they mean. And I took a lesson with a drummer called Kenrick Rose, a UK drummer over here. Amazing work with like real. He's actually working with the Specials right now, and he's just done the last special.
Yes.
If you've heard the latest Specials record, but it's really cool, man.
Oh, I'm gonna check it out, dude.
Check it out. Really cool. He's an amazing guy, really nice guy. And I went and linked up with him. He's a friend of the guitarist from the Jewelers. So I was like, man, let's go. And I'd love to take a lesson. Took months to link it up because they've just been on a world tour, basically. So they're away for like a year. Anyway, sat for 2 hours. He showed me like lots of different things, but there was just one particular thing that he showed me that he learned from Lloyd Nibbs, who's the Scartalites drummer. Yep. He toured with the Scartalites and also was in the studio when he was a real young boy, like stood on side of the stage kind of watching Lloyd do his thing, listened in studios. He told me he would stand there with his headphones on, the isolated drum tracks, listening to like fucking Lloyd Nibbs, man. These guys basically invented it. Do you know what I mean? They were as good as. And he just showed me this one little thing, man, and I was like, fucking there it is. That's it. Like that's like the key, man. Like and it doesn't mean I've got it. I'm definitely not saying that, but he showed me the concept. Yeah. Now I've got it to work on, and all of a sudden it was like, fuck, man, there it is. Like, and there's no way I would have picked that up from those old records. Well, the Scartalight stuff isn't that old. Some of their newer recordings are clean, but there's no way I would have picked that up. No, absolutely no way. And
yeah, that's the thing. Exactly, man. Because think about where he got that from. You know what I'm saying? And then where did that person get, there's a whole lineage, you know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously it morphs over time in different music, different styles. But yeah, man, you're very like getting it from like the kind of going to the source, you can listen to the records, but it's like.
Yeah. And these guys are getting old. Like Lloyd's no longer with us, man. He passed away. This generation is like getting now to that age where, unfortunately, they're all starting to pass away, and it's not going to be around for long, man. And again, it's not so much that I'm able to do it that way, but like you say, it's from the source. It's like it's direct down, and I'm always going to take it and interpret it in my own way. That's why it's art, and and that's what it's about. But if you've got those bones and those foundations, then man, you're pretty set, right? Well, hopefully.
yeah, exactly, man. Ooh, that's awesome. Damn. Yeah, man. I hear you. Nice. Well, cool, man. Well, dude, man. Alex, man, it was great kicking it with you, man. Yeah. So, so hopefully sooner than later, We'll do this in person, we'll hang out. You know what I'm saying? So,
if you're ever over in the UK or if I'm over that way, we'll link it up for sure, man.
Exactly, man. Well, Cool, man. Yo, dude, this is so awesome, man. And man, well, hey, you know where to find me now, man. So hit me up whenever, man. You know.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I probably will do that. You might get little messages from me going, man, check this out. What do you think?
Dude, man, please, man, please. Yeah, I'll do the same thing, man. So
yeah,
sure, man. Right on, man.
All right,
cool, man. Well, enjoy the rest of the day, man. You know. Yeah, man. And cool. Well, I'll talk to you.
Yeah, man.
All right, brothers.
All the best, bro.
Yeah. You too, man.
Take care.
Yeah. Late.